Hello, everyone. To continue on constructivism and interaction with the environment, as mentioned earlier, Jean Piaget was someone who has greatly been influenced by the environment, which inspired his theory of constructivism. I would like you to watch these images carefully. Pay attention to the looks, the impressions, the postures, and the actions. What do they suggest to you? That's how you ignite the process of adaptation. Adaptation and equilibrium. Over the years, living species have been subjected to adaptation from the color of the skin in humans to the morphology of animals and plants, passing through the sizes and behaviors. Therefore, a small historical overview is necessary here. Prior to Charles Darwin's theory of evolution in the 1830s that stated that all species of life have descended from common ancestors, it was believed that adaptation was a fixed relationship between an organism and its habitats. Piaget's theory of constructivism further supported Darwin. He discovered that all living creatures have an embedded instinct and aptitude of survival in their natural and specific ecosystem. These particular characteristics, which is the core reason for the resilience and the perpetuation of species is revealed through adaptation. What then is adaptation? According to Piaget, adaptation refers to the propensity of every species to make adjustments in order to survive and succeed in the environment. Also called the theory of survival of the fittest, adaptation is an organism's ability to adapt to its natural milieu, correct and construct with time. Now, how do we connect adaptation to cognitive development? In the field of psychology, Piaget has been able to apply this physiognomic principle of adaptation to cognitive science, involving conscious intellectual activity such as thinking, reasoning, or remembering. Adaptation simply means changing one's cognitive structure or one's environment or both to some degree in order to better understand the environment. Like all natural occurrences, adaptation follows well-structured and systematical stages. Every thought emanating from or information collected by the human mind is organized in a sort of already existing database called schema. You may call it a box. The systematic process of adaptation is triggered each time a new information is received with the ensuing stages of assimilation, cognitive disequilibrium, accommodation, cognitive equilibrium, and new assimilation. The first is assimilation. Do you remember how you started questioning your mind when I asked you to describe the picture with only one word? Good. Your mind had to assimilate the information you received. Assimilation is the process of bringing new objects or information into an already existing schema where knowledge is stored and organized. For example, a child who sees a dog receives the information that it has four legs, has brown, white, or black fur, is medium-sized, barks, runs fast, and fetches balls. The next is cognitive disequilibrium. Cognitive disequilibrium. Now, I would like you to imagine a situation when you need to accommodate and an unannounced visitor. You receive an unannounced visitor you were not prepared for. Imagine that situation. How would you feel? So, cognitive disequilibrium is a stage of cognitive imbalance experienced when the child encounters information that is inconsistent with what is already acquired, requiring the mind to develop a new schema or modify the existing one completely. Practically, the child will see a cow and from his or her previous knowledge, we expect it to bark and take balls, right? Just like the dog. Because it has four legs with brown, white, or black fur. However, the next step is accommodation. Now, you must adjust your schedule because you have a new visitor. You have to forego maybe your shopping. You have to arrange things in your room to make space. Or maybe you have to even go and rent a room in a hotel. You have to add a meal. Now you are thinking budgets. All to accommodate and make space for your guests to be comfortable, right? That is how accommodation works. It is a process of modifying old schemes or creating new ones to fit the assimilated information better. Here, imagine the mind rearranging all ideas in the box and simply creating a bigger box to make space to fit new information. Here, the child discovers, for instance, that all animals with four legs are not dogs. There also exists a cow, which is bigger and has udders that produce the milk he or she drinks. Therefore, the child will be in a state of confusion, trying to figure out how to fit in the new information. The next step is cognitive equilibrium. When all is set, how do you feel? Your guest is comfortable and you're happy. Cognitive equilibrium refers to a state of balance between an individual's mental schema and his or her environment that occurs when the child's expectations based on prior knowledge fit with the new knowledge. At this stage, the child can accurately identify dogs and cows, and his or her new ability to name the animals moves her into cognitive equilibrium. This state remains constant until he or she visits the zoo and encounters a new animal. See, an antelope. I would like to ask you, what do you think will happen at this stage? Okay, there will simply be a new assimilation. It is simply the reoccurrence of all the stages above, prompted by a new information. If they are not compatible with the existing schema, there will be a new need to assimilate, to struggle to overcome the new disequilibrium through accommodation to achieve equilibrium. This dynamic, constant, and infinite yearning for cognitive stability is called equilibration or moving equilibrium. Now, this diagram is the summary of all the stages already described above. We have assimilation, then cognitive disequilibrium, then accumulation, cognitive equilibrium, and back to new assimilation. Now, what should we retain from all what has been said? In a nutshell, Jean-Piaget saw the survival of mankind as inextricably connected to his environment. He asserted that we derive knowledge not from information originating from objects in our environments, but by acting on objects found in our environment. Quoting Piaget, Janet McCarthy Gallagher said, "To know objects, the subject must act upon them and therefore transform them. He must displace, connect, combine, take part, and reassemble them." So, constructivism is knowledge gained prior to entering school, a theory in education that states that learners construct new understanding and knowledge, integrating with what they already know through acting on and in the environment, with a clear distinction between merely getting in information and fitting in information. Thank you for bearing us.